Good afternoon, people. Put a 1 in the chat box if you can hear me. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat box. If you put a 1 in the chat box. All right. Good afternoon, people. I trust that everyone has had a great day. Shout out to Renee. Glad you can join us tonight, brother. We have a very interesting topic tonight, family, and that topic is a very needed topic. Let me turn this off. All right. That topic is a very needed topic. It's a topic that goes often overlooked. You know, if you can see me good, too. You know, we build it as we fly. A topic that goes overlooked a lot, and a lot of times excuses and passes are given for the behavior. I think it's very counterproductive to do it. And that subject is that we're talking about tonight is, ladies, have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships? And you know, I'm a firm believer that in most cases, a lot of women that are in these situations that are toxic, a lot of times they don't even realize they're being toxic because it comes from a lot of past upbringing, different examples that were not necessarily positive. In most cases, I would say about 80% of most Black women are raised in a household where there was no male representation in that house. And the first time they ever came into contact with male authority, it was usually either in college or on their job. So when you have those kind of dynamics, this is what most men, when they want relationships, are encountered with. They're encountered with behavior that's very counterproductive to relationships. And in most cases, the society today, under a narrative which is called feminism, they tend to pander and give way to toxic behavior. Now here's the real problem. In our community, the Black community in particular, we face very different and unique dynamics as it relates to socioeconomic situations, relationship situations, especially when in this country, 80% of all relationships are broken off, particularly divorces are broken off by women. I know that's shocking, but the stats, data, and statistics don't lie. Men are not really leaving their relationships. And under toxic behavior, the narrative is that we are running around town just making babies. Well, I'm going to debunk that theory also, because 54% of Black men in this country are single and childless. I know you didn't probably know that, but it's significantly different as it relates to women. They are single parenting at a larger number than we are. So, I mean, what does that tell you? That tell you there's a real big, huge problem in the community. Now, when you think about family, understand this. There is no community without us together as a couple, as a family. But here's the problem. You have these social media platforms. Some of you have probably heard of them. Tinder, you know Tinder. OnlyFans. You have Instagram. These platforms tend to coddle bad behavior, especially OnlyFans, in the way that it pays so well just to get up there and be half naked, twerking, jumping around. I mean, ladies, think about it. Think about it. If the statistics, the data, and the information available on record, not an opinion, says that 1 in every 4 women will marry, that means 3 of that 4 will die alone. look at where these numbers are. When they take the stats again, it'll probably be 1 in 10, or maybe 1 in 15, or maybe 1 in 20 or 30 or 40. I mean, the number's just going to keep going up. The way this society is targeting the narrative as it relates to family and relationships. Women today, under a feminist idea, don't believe they need a man. So this is what you're dealing with now. When you get into a relationship and you have your wife or your significant other, and you're in a conversation with her, just a regular conversation turns into an earthquake. And under a toxic mentality, they don't intend to get an outcome. They just want to overcome the conversation. And so here's the thing. This is a problem. This is a real big problem, because for our women, unfortunately, in our community, there's a low level of disrespect when it comes to Black men. There's a low level of disrespect. And it's not completely, altogether, every single woman's fault. And I'm gonna tell you what happens. For all my guys that's in the room, think about it. How many times have you ever walked past a crowd of women that were just kind of standing together, talking out loud? You know how you see this sister, she's on her cell phone, she's talking very, very, very loud, like she wants everybody in the neighborhood to hear that she's on the phone. Nobody cares about the conversation, but she seems to believe that she needs to announce that, yes, I'm on the phone, and not only am I on the phone, but I'm angry, and I'm using all types of profanity on the phone very loudly. I'm pretty sure you've seen that. An individual like that is a perfect example of what's called toxic behavior. And here's the saddest part about that. More than likely, she probably has children. And she probably has children by more than one father. Now, here's where it gets real, real sticky. Because in a situation like that, because of the behavior, which is not conducive to a healthy, meaningful relationship, productive relationship, the only time feminism expresses itself with a female who's toxic in nature, in her behavior, and in her conversation, the only time feminism is even exemplified or expressed, it's usually during sex. And that's tough, because outside of the sexual experience, what comes behind that is the toxicity. How do you know how to identify a woman who's being toxic? I'm going to explain a few little bullet points about that. You're having a conversation with her. She's supposed to be your lady or your wife, your significant other. While you're talking, she begins to overtalk. Over-talking is a first sign of disrespect. That means while you're talking, it's clear that she has ears. She can hear that you're actually talking, but it's not important enough for her to stop talking. That's why, and when it comes to that, that means she's really not looking for you to lead. She's not looking for you to lead, because for you to lead, she has to respect what you're saying. She has to respect your wisdom, your guidance, and believe with certainty that your decisions are going to be in her best interest. I'm sure every guy that's on this stream would believe that. She has to believe that you have her best interests at heart, and as it relates to decisions that are going to be made. Okay, but if she doesn't, or she doubts it, then you're gonna have a problem. Because now when you have an idea or a decision that you want made, then what happens is sometimes it's not directly rejected. Sometimes it's what we call passive aggressive behavior, where she'll pretend she heard it, pretend she understood it and was going to do it, but then you'll find that she didn't do it, and she'll pretend in the most softest feminine way that she either didn't hear you or didn't understand what you said. Now, the first time it happens, you could give the benefit of the doubt, but what you'll find out in a toxic behavior, toxic individual, you'll find that they'll continue doing it over and over repeatedly on different occasions. You'll also find this. You'll find, for example, here's a really light example. You want to go out with your friends, meaning the guys. You want to go out with one of your friends, just a simple get together. You know, you don't normally do it. You work a lot and you just want to go out with the guys. The day you decide to do it, she'll say something like, oh, it's not important for you to stay with me. What is that called? That's guilt. I talked in a previous stream about a behavior called sign language. Sign language means shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Now, mind you, the need to be right is not designed for her to get a conclusion nor to get a solution. It's only to overcome the conversation with you. Now, ladies, these talking points may in some way trigger you, okay? But I will tell you this. These are the same kind of behaviors that will not ever get you the outcomes that you want. What is the outcome you want? If you want a man, a productive relationship, a meaningful relationship, what do you think your responsibility is? It's not always about what his responsibility is, although he has one, but you have one also. It takes two. You can't wash your left hand without your right hand. You can't wash your face without using your hand. It has to accompany and incorporate your face. You can't brush your teeth. You can't talk. You can't eat unless your tongue, your teeth, and everything else in your mouth incorporates and works together for you to get the same result. You got 9 systems in your body. They all work together. They don't fight. They don't go into battle with each other, because if they did, you'd be dead. Now, why is it that in relationship, if God put examples that require 2 things to work together to get good results, why is it that when we come together, we can't seem to get the results that we should get? And I tell you something, I want us to get back to the old traditional way of thinking as it relates to family, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you something, if we don't get back to it, don't get mad, sisters, ladies, don't get mad if your man decides to go off and find another woman from another nationality. Don't say he's not, he don't believe in his culture. He's ashamed of his blackness. And I mean, that's another thing. That's another sign of shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. And on our women's part, it's also a sign of lack of accountability. Everybody has a part to play. And all too often in this society, women have been told that they don't have to be accountable for what they do, but they hold men accountable. We know what it is. We have Waiting to Excel. We had The Color Purple. Each one of these examples in terms of cinema did not reflect, nor did it give a good image for Black men. These same images are the images that's incorporated and embedded in the subconscious and conscious mind of most of our women. And so when they come to us, starting from a very early age, being incorporated with this thought process from their mother, and in addition to their mother, but from their grandmothers, Generation X, ladies, robbed you of what it really means to be a wife. They robbed you, because hot girl summer is not how you become one. They never told you that winter would come. Again, remember what I said in the beginning of the stream. I said to you that 1 in 4 women, Black women in this country in particular, will ever marry in a lifetime. That means 3 of them will die by themselves. How is toxicity going to incorporate any positive outcome as it relates to changing that narrative? Because it's not going to change. It's only going to increase and get much, much worse. You're going to see, going further into the future, more women that are homeless and on the street. You need a man. It's not an option. It's certainly not a convenience. It's not a luxury. You need one. I know some are going to say, what? I don't need no man. I got my PhD. I got my bachelor's degree, my MBA, my BS. And I would tell you what the BS is, but I got my BS and my master's. I got all these degrees. You got more degrees than a thermometer, but you cannot seem to get the temperature right in your relationship. Do your shoes fit better than your relationship? Something to think about. Do your shoes fit better than your relationship? Do your clothes, your dress, does it fit better than your relationship? Because I'm gonna tell you something, no matter what we acquire, whether it be education or materialistic things, we can't take it with us. The quality of life is who you can get down the road to at the end of life with. That's what's most important. You ever notice that a multi-millionaire or multi-billionaire, when they get sick, they don't start complaining about what they own and how much wealth they have? They don't complain about that. Reality kicks in and they come face to face with their mortality. You don't want to ever get to the point where you feel as though you're empowered because of what you've acquired. Now, mind you, you have a right to acquire wealth. You have a right to acquire materialistic things. Who doesn't want the best things in life? But understand that the best things in life are not necessarily material. The best thing in life is going down the road with your physical life with someone who's cooperative, who's fit, who's feminine, and who's submissive. And I know that a lot of you women sisters don't like that word submissive. I know you don't. And that's because the feminist movement in this society has put on the word a negative denotation. They never explain to you about the positive connotation of the word. And that is a problem, because submissive simply means you trust your husband. That's all it means. You trust him. And if you don't trust him, why are you with him? Why did you marry him? Why are you in a relationship? And you know what? More importantly, why'd you give him children? Do you know that the best gift that a woman can give a man outside of anything that's material is children? Children is a choice that women make. You can talk about a man and everything he does, but sisters, women, ladies, let me tell you, you women have the choice of two things in this world. And you know what that is? And this might trigger you. You have the choice of sex and childbirth. Men decide relationships and marriage. I'm gonna let that just sink in just a little bit. I'm gonna say it again, because that's one of them big giant medicine pills that you gotta break up in the plate just to swallow. A lot of women don't understand that, and they hate to admit that that's the reality. But in reality, women determine two things in this world. They determine childbirth and sex, access to her body. A man determines relationships and marriage. So now think about that. Just before you let yourself get triggered, just think about the two things I just said, and then I'm going to paint the narrative so you'll see how all these puzzle pieces come together. If that is true, what I said, and it is, then look at the conditions of our community. Do you see married women? Do you see women in real, fruitful, meaningful relationships? Go to the malls, go to the movies, go to restaurants or diners, go to lounges, go to clubs. For some of you that's still doing hot girl summer and you're in the club, go to these places of entertainment. You'll find more women there by themselves with that left hand so naked you'd think they was in Antarctica. And they're all together having conversations about decisions they made with other men in their lives that were not necessarily positive. So therefore, they're scorned. And you heard the term, a woman scorned, hell has no fury like a woman scorned. Well, guess what? It's not that hell has no fury like a woman scorned. The woman that is scorned is in hell because she can't get out of her own way. Ladies, if you are with someone that wants to marry you, understand that you have won. You have won. You beat the odds and the statistics that are taken nationwide all over this country about what has happened and what the marriage rate is. 1 in 3 will marry in a lifetime. We're talking about a population that's in the hundreds of thousands, in the millions. Women, especially Generation X, they outnumber us 600,000 to 600,000 throughout the whole entire population of black men that's in this country. And I'm gonna tell you something else, sisters. I'm gonna tell you something else. I know you watch Basketball Wives, and I know you watch Rihanna with her Rihanna's Prayer and Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. For some of you that like to watch that, I'm gonna tell you something. When you see these lifestyles of people that are wealthy, understand that's all you're looking at. These are regular people just like we are. The only difference between us is the fact that they have money and resources. But I'm gonna tell you something. You have a chance of a snowball in a firestorm in hell, trying to get somebody that's on that level. You can't keep the ones that you have right now in the neighborhoods and communities where you live. 85% of all black men in this country, the median income is $41,000 to $42,500. I'm talking about $41,000 to $42,500 dollars a year for a lifetime. I'm gonna let that sink in too. I'm gonna let that sink in, because I know you want that six-figure guy. I know you do. I know you're looking at that guy that makes 100,000 or better or more. Okay, but the only difference and problem with that is if you're toxic and you can't keep the ones that you have, and you have a better shot at the odds of getting a really good man at 85%, as opposed to trying to pick out the top 10% of money earners in the country. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Do you know how many black men make $100,000 a year in this country? 10,000. 10%. Pardon me, not 10,000. 10%. You know how many black men make 300,000 and upwards of 500,000 in this country? We're talking 3%. You know how many black men make $1 million or more in this country? We're talking 1%, negative 1%. In some cases. But guess what your odds are in terms of getting a good man who simply works a regular job? He's not robbing nobody. He's not stealing from nobody. He just wants to work hard and serve you if you would love him enough to serve him and get out of your own way. Break your mind away from this societal thinking that breaks up the whole idea that marriage is corny. It's not corny. Every single woman out here who has an attitude of toxicity, guess what? They lost. They lost. They didn't win. I don't care what kind of education they have. I don't care how many degrees they have. You can, like I said earlier, you can have more degrees than a thermometer, and that temperature is reading cold. That temperature is reading cold. So you have to buy a dog. You have to buy a cat. You need some kind of companionship, but you have to learn what it takes to qualify to get the men that you say you want. Now, you may not get the man you say you want in terms of finances, but do you want a good man, or do you just want somebody that has money? What are men to you? Are we commodities and utilities, or do you really want a meaningful relationship, ladies? What do you want? What do you want? We want you, but you don't want us. That's the saddest part. We want you, but you don't want us. And you won't curb your behavior enough just to qualify. You won't even smile at a black man. Black man walk past you, he may say to you, "Hey, sister, smile." You give him a growl, you know. You turn into Medusa. All he is ask you to smile. Can we even get a smile from you? Ladies, can you smile at a black man? Or does every day have to look like you sucked on lemons and prunes and grapefruit juice with pickles? Why? Why? In a first world country like we live in right now, where women are more educated and more privileged, more access to privilege, to opportunities than any woman in this country, in the world, since the world has been the United States, the black woman and women in general have access to more education, more opportunities than any woman has ever had in this country. And yet, why is it that in our community, our women are the most unhappy? Why? Why? You can't blame it on the fact that education is not available for you. You can't. You can't blame it on the fact that your ability to achieve and raise yourself to the heights of whatever your dreams are has not been made available to you. It has. And you know, I don't play that game with the race card, you know, because there is no man or woman that's holding us back. You know who holds us back? We do. We do. We do, with all the excuses and the narrative that we paint to put the blame on somebody else. But guess what? At the end of the day, when you get up to brush your teeth, there's nobody in that mirror but you. You're looking at your own reflection every time you go in the bathroom, you know. And if you don't like the reflection, ladies, do something to change it. Don't get mad at men because we have these talking points. For the first time in 50 years, men are actually talking about what they want. You know, don't get mad. I got a talking point that's coming up soon in a few weeks. It's called "What Do You Want If the Narrative of the Talking Point You Reject?" Because here's the thing: men have sat by and let our women just dog us out. We never said a word. Now, mind you, I'm not taking our brothers off the carpet. Oh yes, I got a whole men's platform, and I'm not going to be playing with that either. Because you know why I'm not going to play with that? Because black men who don't act right, I call them Mr. Can't Get Right. Just Mr. Can't Get Right. Can't get right for nothing. Can't get right, won't do right, and think that their manhood is down between their legs. You know, I got a problem with that. I'm going to tell you why. Because they create the narrative and they perpetuate the narrative of the bad image of black men. So I understand you, sisters. I understand you. But mind you, once you know, you can't unknow. That's the thing about these talking points. Once you know, you can't pretend you don't know. And don't get mad. Just get better. Because again, we want you, but do you want us? Have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships? Have you? Have you? How does your man experience you on a day-to-day basis? Not how he experiences you in the bedroom. How does he experience you outside of the bedroom? Are you pleasant to be around? Are you friendly? Are you feminine? Are you fit? Are you cooperative? Do you overtalk your man? Are you argumentative? What are you? What is his experience? Is it great adventure? Wonder World? Disneyland? What is it? What is his experience? What kind of ride does he get on? Is it a cyclone? Is it lightning loops? What is it? What kind of ride is he on with you? What kind of ride is he on with you? I said in a previous stream this too also. Men will be better because we want to. But you got to get better too. All the responsibility can't be put on black men to change. We have to change, absolutely. We all got our issues. I promise you that we got our issues. I'm not perfect. And I don't do these streams to indicate that I am. Absolutely not. But I'm super concerned. I believe it's serious and it needs to be said. And I believe somebody has to have the courage to actually put themselves on the line, throw themselves on their own sword, and be willing to say these things, irregardless of the outcome and irregardless of the repercussions. I am that one. I am that one. Because I believe it's necessary. It is necessary. Imagine this in your mind. Imagine, just if you close your eyes and think, imagine walking throughout your neighborhood in every city, and all you see is black men, black women holding hands, looking as if they want to be in each other's company, smiling, having a good time, you know, maybe have a ice cream cone in their hand, each one with sprinkles and all that old good stuff. And they have nothing but good talking points to each other. They're not insulting one another. She's very respectfully dressed. She's not loud. She's sophisticated, very respectful. She's looking at her man like she admires him, like he's her superhero. Okay, imagine that in your mind in every community where you go. Now I want you to take that thought out of your head for just a quick second and imagine what you see right now. It's a drastic difference, a very drastic difference. Do we not have to change that narrative? All we have is each other. We are better together than we are apart. We just are. We're better together than we are apart. And ladies, black men want you. We do. But it seems as though you don't want us. That's the problem. So you lead with your body. You lead with sexual attention. And you do it so often that now you believe by leading that way, it somehow gives you a badge of honor. It does not. I will tell you this. The anatomy of a woman comes standard with every single woman on the planet. If that's all you lead with, that's like saying a car with tires is different than the next million cars with tires. You know you can't lead with that. Come on, you can't keep a man with sex. Sex is not going to keep him. Sex is not going to keep him. It never has, and it never will. It'll keep him for the time frame that you're actually in that conduct. Excuse me. Yeah, it'll keep him for that short period of time. But will it keep him for a lifetime? That's what you got to ask yourself. Will it keep him for a lifetime? Can you get to the end of your years, the end of your days with him? And do you keep yourself presentable and attractive to him? Because how you are attractive in your mind and how you talk outside of being toxic is equally as important in how you conduct yourself. What does he see when he come home? Does he have to do an air test with his toe to find out what kind of climate is going on inside his house? He don't know who you're going to be that day. When's the last time you bought your husband a gift just because it's Wednesday? Just because, not because it's his birthday, not because it's your anniversary, nothing like that. When's the last time you just did something nice for him just because it was Sunday or Saturday or Monday? You know, you may hate going to work on Monday, but you show up. But do you show up for your husband on Monday? You show up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But do you show up for your husband Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? You definitely show up. And the same qualifications you had to get the job that you had. You had to show something on that resume to give confidence and proof to that employer that you were qualified for the job you were applying for. Have you ever thought that you need to qualify in terms of behavior, attitude, conduct, how you carry yourself, and everything else to qualify for the man that you say you want? That you say you want. No man is obligated to you. Trust me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're married. It doesn't matter if you have children. It doesn't matter. If your conduct is so toxic that he needs to put on PPE, which is personal protective equipment that you wear in a dangerous environment, if he has to do that, then trust me, it doesn't matter what's going on in the house. He'll break his heart. You'll break his heart that he has to leave anyway, because if he don't, he'll die. He'll just die inside. He'll lose himself because you're just not tolerable or bearable to be with. Have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships? Have you? Have you? And ladies, if you have daughters, all you're doing is making a carbon copy. You know, you put a piece of paper on a copy machine. You can't give what you don't have. If that's all you have and that's all you know, you're going to give your daughters that same narrative. They're in the university of you, and they'll graduate from the university of you. Just think of it. Just think of it. And I'll tell you, I said something in a previous stream, and I'm a bullet point these again because I think they're important. You have to look good for your husband. Look good. Don't give an excuse. Don't say you were working, you were tired, and you were cooking and cleaning the house. First of all, if you're cleaning the house on a regular basis, it won't take you 3 or 4 hours to clean it. The only time you clean a house for 3 and 4 hours is because you ain't been cleaning at all. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, come on, knock it off. If you're having these long periods of doing things, it's because you haven't been doing it at all. So just start now. It doesn't matter if it takes you 5 hours to clean your house now because you haven't cleaned it in 5 years. Then start now. You know, start now. That's all. Start now and start looking at your husband and your man as a hero. Let him be the hero that you want, even if he's not acting as though he is a hero right now. You'll bring out the best in him if you become the best version of yourself. And that's a fact. Try it. Do an experiment. Do an experiment. And do an experiment. And I'll tell you something. You have so many things that goes on in this country to smear and blur the narrative. And sadly enough, unfortunately, we can't get everybody. You can't save everybody. A hospital can't save every patient that comes in there, even though they all come in there for pretty much the same thing, and that's simply to be helped for whatever ails them. But when you can't save everybody, every woman will not receive these talking points. They will not receive it because society tells them, who does he think he is? Now, here comes the shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. I'm gonna show you how this works. Somebody who thinks that I shouldn't be saying it will say, who do you think he is? Can't tell us what he's trying to judge us. He must hate women. You know, his mama black. He gay. You know, you go all kinds of narratives, all kinds of silly stuff is said when the talking points are reversed. Although if it was about us, you would hear no outcry. Now, I'll tell you, ladies, this ship has sailed. These talking points are here to stay. They're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. And I think you should be grateful for the fact that they are here. You may not like the medicine when you hear it. It goes down a little bitter, but if you keep listening and keep taking it, you'll get an acquired taste. And you'll get better for those that choose and truly want to get better. Truly want to get better. You know, and then keep asking yourself the question, ask yourself that question. Have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships? Have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships? And truthfully, only you can answer that question. Nobody can answer it for you. Only you can truly answer it. But will you be honest with yourself the same way you told your man in the beginning of your relationship, don't lie to me? I don't care what you do, just don't lie to me. Well, here are some truths in these talking points. Can you receive the truth if it's against you? Or you only want the truth when it relates to him? Because every man knows that when a woman says that in the beginning of a relationship, she's talking about one truth, and that truth is him being unfaithful. That's the real truth she's asking for when she say, don't lie to me. Because if it meant just the truth alone, then the truth would suffice. That even if it was uncomfortable and it was the truth, she'd receive it gladly. Why is there a selective kind of truth? That's why today in this modern day time, the modern woman will say, I'm speaking my truth. So there is your truth, the truth, and my truth. Which one is actually the truth? You know, my truth, I always interpret that as being what you're comfortable with saying, or what you're comfortable with believing, because it doesn't step on your toes. It doesn't make you accountable for anything. So it becomes my truth. But there is a truth, which is defined as the truth. That's the one you want if you want the outcomes that you say you want in regards to relationship. And I'll tell you something, you have the right of choice. That's one thing I believe about feminism. I believe women have the right to choose. When it first started, it was started to give women the right to choose in terms of employment, education, and many other different things that they were being blocked from. So I am a firm supporter in the right to choice where women are concerned. However, it's like I said in previous streams, it's morphed into this big Frankenstein now that's made women and that turned women to this I am woman, watch me roar. You know, this tiger masculine, female masculine nature. You know, no more femininity. It's what you have now. It's my Gucci bag, my Louis Vuitton bag, my red bottoms, my Birkin bag, my job, my career, my degree. And with that comes masculine behavior. Femininity has been thrown out the door. You almost can't even find a truly feminine woman, or a woman that's comfortable and happy with serving her man. You almost can't find it. You almost can't find it. If you do, and you're lucky, I mean, scripture says he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and to find one, that means she already existed. Trying to find one now is like trying to find a needle in a huge haystack the size of one state. It's very, very difficult. And we can change that narrative, ladies. We can change it, but it's going to require work. And I'm a firm believer that a lot of our women are lazy. They simply don't want to do the work that will qualify them for the outcomes that they say they want. So while you ask for the truth, are you lying to yourself that your behavior is acceptable? Are you lying to yourself that when you're in your masculine and not your feminine, that it's okay? Are you doing the most lying to yourself while you tell your man not to lie to you? And could that be reflective of the outcomes that you're in right now? Could it be reflective? You know, could it be reflective? Just something to think about. Something to think about seriously and internalize. But you have to humble yourself to take these talking points. If you're triggered by any of the talking points, understand that the trigger you're feeling is probably some aspect or characteristic that you may possess yourself personally. Embrace it. Embrace it. Don't get angry, get better. Don't get angry, get better. Get better, because again, like I said earlier, we want you, but do you want us? And what can change the narrative, you have to ask yourself the question, have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships? And if you have, then you're going to sit among the ranks of the three that I mentioned earlier that will die by yourself. Because we all get old. We do. We get old. We're not always looking the way we looked in our 20s. I don't look the way I look right now that I'm in my 20s. And I thought I was the I thought I was the ish when I was in my 20s. You couldn't tell me nothing. A funny thing happens though as you get older. You get in touch with your mortality. You know, and that silly thing that you had about yourself and all the conceit and thinking you all that in a bag of cheese doodles. Guess what? Cheese doodles even get stale. you thought you was all that in a bag of cheese doodles. Cheese doodles get stale. So you already know what's going to happen with you. You're not going to stay hot all the time. Hot girl summer going to go away, and then winter's going to come. Winter represents when you get into your old age, and then you come face to face with your mortality. And the thing about it is, you want to have a man next to you. If you're so blessed to do so, have a man next to you. And I'm not talking to you sisters who may have had a husband who you did have and lived with you throughout your life, but he died while you were still alive. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the sisters who had multiple relationships and sabotaged every single one. And I'm a firm believer that you've met Mr. Right on more than one occasion. It's just that you weren't Mrs. Right. And you blew it. You sabotaged it. You ladies have a term that you use. It's called the one I let get away. It's funny how the one you believe you let get away, you still can't get it together with the one that you have. Something to think about. Ladies, don't lead with your anatomy. Don't lead with that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Understand what exactly you want. If you want to be a doctor, you know there's a qualification you have to succeed at getting in order to become one. If you want to be a lawyer, there's something you have to do to qualify to become one. If you want to be a chemist or anything in this world that you want to become, you have to qualify and take the information and talking points according to that profession in order to get that profession. Well, if you want to be a wife, you have to be willing to take the course to find out what is it that will qualify me to get the outcomes that I want. You don't just want to be used. You want to become the kind of woman that a man is willing not just to marry, but to keep. That's what you want. And you want him to only see you. But you have competition. Because the same man, like I said on a previous stream, the same man that you want, somebody else wants him to. If you think he's handsome, somebody else does too. That's something to think about. You're only one person. He encounters different females all the time, but he doesn't necessarily want them. He wants you. But what are you giving him to make him stay interested? What are you doing to make him stay interested? You can't just say that men are dogs. This is the narrative that the world paints. Men are dogs. They all cheat, blah, blah, blah. No. Don't even buy into it, because the women that talk like that, they're single. They probably have a dog, and if they don't, they'll buy one. They're going to be by themselves. Women that talk like that, they're not trying to take accountability for any bad behavior. You know, they just want to keep single women single. Single women keep single women single. Understand that. It's like me going to a doctor asking him about plumbing work. Can he tell me something about plumbing work, or should I go to a plumber? If you want to know what to do, you need to talk to a woman and a man who has a meaningful, successful relationship over time. And I'm telling you right now, if they've been in a relationship for a long period of time, it's not without consequences. Oh, they've been through hell and back. That's why they get to tell that story. Understand? Even your story, you have to earn. Even your story, you have to earn. Nobody escapes this life without a few bruises and a few scratches and a few cuts. But I'll tell you something, you don't get to tell that story unless you can endure. So you might see them happy now, and they can tell you we've been together 30, 40 years and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they didn't tell you what they had to deal with for 30 to 40 years. Have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships, ladies? Have you? And I'm going to tell you something, ladies, you need to start, if you love black men, start defending us. When you hear a sister on the phone loud and she's just disrespecting, I mean, hey, listen, you can say, sister, don't talk like that about us. Don't talk like that about black men. Don't do that. Because I'm going to tell you something else that you probably didn't know. Other nationalities, they are watching the behavior of our women towards their own men. Oh, yes. You know what Becky and Marisol are saying? If they don't want, if they don't want Troy, I want him. If they don't want Jerome, I want him. I want him. That's why when your men become celebrities and all that kind of stuff, and they get jobs, and even in your own communities where they make $50,000, $60,000, and Becky and Marisol, they looking at them too. You don't want them, they want them, because they were trained in their community to value their men. The whole world watches our community, and they watch the behavior of our sisters. And yes, they watch the behavior of us as well, but they also watch the behavior of our women, and they can see clearly that our women have absolutely no respect for their own man. For their own man. Are you ours? And if not, why? If we want you, do you want us? Or have you become too toxic for meaningful relationships? These are the questions that you have to begin to ask yourself. Not get angry, not get emotional where your brain stops thinking, not start calling names and throwing out pejoratives and ad hominems and, and sign language. Stop that. You're never going to get the results that you want by doing that. That's old behavior. That behavior has never gotten any results. Absolutely not. And the funny thing that you heard me say earlier, a lot of Generation X, which are our family members, they were married. Many of them were married for many, many years, and they had daughters, but they never told the daughter the value and the importance of getting married. So with that being said, I think everybody who got on the stream, I hope that you can feel that my talking points come from a good place. I want to see the outcomes that you say you want, ladies. I really do. And as a result, the men will get the outcomes that they want as well. All men do is think about sex. Well, show them something different. Show them something different. Give men something to strive for other than your body. Give us something different to strive for. All right. Again, I thank everyone who came on the stream. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Legion. I see you, man. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, man. Shout out to Margaret. Shout out to Gail. Shout out to Abdul. Shout out to everyone who jumped on the stream. Shout out to Renee. Queenie, shout out to you. I'm so happy that you were able to get on the stream. Again, these points are very important. We have to keep this conversation going, because here's the thing. If we stop talking, see, bad behavior, just like bad men, rules and take over when good men and women remain quiet. These are things that have to be said. With that, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic, prosperous, productive night. I'll see you, what's this, Friday? I'll see you Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I got an amazing topic we're going to be talking about. Sunday night as well at 8 o'clock. I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I do it even after I go to work and work 8 hours. That's how important it is to me. So keep locking in. Keep giving me your support. I appreciate you. Until next time, I'm Charles Chambliss, and let's talk about it. Have a good night.